Bill says preparing. You don't see it yet, Robin, do you? Oh, now it says meeting is live streaming. Okay, yay, here we go. So, welcome everyone to a training on recruiting today. I am so excited to see you here. If you're watching the playback, definitely drop playback in the comments because I want to know who is eager and ready to learn how to recruit, share this amazing gift with other people, the gift of Pampered Chef, and maybe move through the career plan yourself. So I'm going to be I'm going to be talking a little bit about my Pampered Chef journey, and I'm going to be talking about some mindset. And then I'm also going to just give you some very basic things that you can do, the things that I do every single week in my parties for recruiting. So when I joined Pampered Chef 15 years ago, I can remember sitting with my recruiter at my kitchen table going through my new consultant onboarding. Back then, we had to do it face to face. Zoom was not a thing. We set income goals. We talked about how many shows per week I wanted to do. And we brainstormed who I was going to ask to be my first host. And then she brought up recruiting. And I said, I'm not interested in recruiting or building a team. I just want to do parties. Any of you say that when you first joined? It's very common to say that. Um, my guess is most of us have said that or even thought that at some point in our business. And looking back on that now, I know why I said what I said. And it was because I was afraid. Quite honestly, I was just afraid. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to recruit and build a team. So I didn't want to say that I wanted to do something in case I wasn't able to. I was also afraid that I wouldn't know how to help someone be successful. How could I bring somebody in when I didn't even know what I was doing yet? And what I have found in these last 15 years is that fear is the number one reason people don't recruit. And the other reason is a lack of consistency. And you guys have heard me talk about that kind of thing before. Habits, good habits, and consistency. So what kinds of things do people fear? People are afraid of saying that they want to build a team and then not being able to, just like I was afraid. They're afraid to ask for a recruit because they don't want to hear no. Some people are just so afraid of that rejection. And then, like me, other people are also afraid of the yes. What if they say yes? Then what do I do? They worry that they're going to let their new consultant down. They're also afraid, and you don't have to raise your hands on this one, but I know it's a real fear. Many times people are also afraid that they're not going to meet their own personal sales goal because if they recruit that host, they know that they're going to give them those bookings to help them get started. Fear is powerful. It is so powerful, it will often keep us from achieving our goals and it keeps us from living our best lives. Fear keeps us from taking advantage of opportunities, like asking that rock star guest to join our team a second time because we're afraid that when they reject the business opportunity, they'll also be rejecting us personally. Fear only lets us see the downside to situations. Like if we sign that host, we'll have to give him or her the bookings, and then we might fall short of our sales goal. That's seeing the downside to a situation. Fear keeps you from stopping and thinking everything through. It keeps us from remembering that both Pampered Chef through Dash and our team's systems have everything in place to help a new consultant start strong. So if fear is what's holding you back from recruiting, there are two things that you can do. first change your belief about recruiting, because what you believe has a direct impact on your actions. Recruiting is not about you. It is not about you. Recruiting is about meeting needs and serving and helping other people. Now, yes, we do benefit when someone joins our team and they do well with the business. But you know what? They are benefiting just as much as we are, if not more. When you're able to see and believe that offering the business to someone is a way to serve them, when you hear the word no, you're going to be okay with it, because again, it's not about you. It's about them. And at this moment, they don't need or aren't ready for what you have to offer. It's just your job to offer it, because that is the selfless and the right thing to do. When we don't offer it, we are being selfish in some kind of way. We are selfishly protecting our feelings and how we'll feel if they say no. We're selfishly protecting our bookings because we don't want to give away those bookings. And we are often selfishly protecting our ego when we're not offering the business to others. I want you to stop and think for just a minute about all of the ways you have personally benefited from this business. Maybe you just joined in the last day or two and your new consultant kit is on the way and you're going to have those products in your kitchen. That's a benefit. Now, what if someone never offered it to you because they were afraid you'd say no? What if they never offered it to you because they were afraid that you would take the bookings from your party as the host? What if they never offered it to you because they were afraid you might not be successful, that they might make a mistake in helping you get started? Do you believe that you're going to survive hearing the word no? I know you will, because I have heard it thousands and thousands of times. Do you believe that you can book more parties? You can. I just ran a booking blitz with some leaders last week and they got 80 bookings in 1 week. The bookings are out there. Do you believe that even if someone tries Pampered Chef and it doesn't work out for them, that doesn't mean that you have failed? It just means that the time wasn't right for them and that they weren't able to give it everything that they needed to give. Now listen, I know we can tell ourselves over and over again what to believe about recruiting, and there's still going to be some fear. So the second thing that you can do if you're struggling with fear about recruiting is just feel the fear and do it anyway. Suck it up, Buttercup. That's the only way you're going to get over the fear. Fear only wins when you don't take action and push forward. That is the only way fear wins. When you start to take action, you're going to get results. And the results that you get are going to eliminate the fears and forever change your belief. So now, let me do my little screen share here. I know by now you're recognizing this as the belief triangle. What you believe determines your actions, and your actions determine your results. Whoops, I showed the wrong slide first. There we go. And your actions determine your results, and your results change or affirm your beliefs. When we aren't experiencing success in our business, it's because we have a problem with our belief, will, or habit. So what's missing from this triangle, and you saw it a second ago, is an adjective. An adjective on the word actions. Yes, what you believe determines your actions or what you're willing to do. And it's your consistent actions, also known as habits, that determine your results. When we do some of the things, some of the times, we sometimes get results. And you've heard me say this how many times? When we do all the things all the time, we significantly increase achieving the results that we want. Sorry, I wanted to stopping there for a second. So I want you to write this down. I can develop any skill in my business, including recruiting. Write it down. I can develop any skill in my business, including recruiting. The question is, do you want to? Nothing is more difficult to bear than saying, I gave it all. I gave it my all, and my all wasn't good enough. So sometimes we don't do all of the things. Sometimes we do less than everything that we can do so that we have an excuse to fall back on. For example, have you ever not asked your host 5 times? And then you don't recruit them and you say, well, I didn't recruit them because I didn't ask them 5 times. By not continually asking them, you are subconsciously giving yourself an out. You're giving yourself an excuse. Consistently doing all of the things all of the time robs you of your excuses. And that means you will have to be okay with sometimes doing all of the things and not necessarily getting a recruit every single time. That is a growth mindset. That means you're okay with not getting perfect results every single time, but you don't leave opportunities on the table. You're viewing every situation as an opportunity to learn and grow. You have to work the hardest for the things that you want the most. So, to consistently recruit, oops, what is happening with my slides? Maybe I didn't want that slide there yet. Hang on. To consistently recruit, you can write these down. I'll have a slide for it in a second. You have to work hard and consistently do 5 things. First is inspire. Second is inform. Third is inquire. Oops, sorry, I said that wrong. Inspire, inform, invite. Fourth is inquire. Inspire, inform, invite, inquire. Too many eyes here. My eyes are getting blurry. And 5th, intentionally follow up. If you are booking parties, hear me loud and clear. You can recruit. Recruiting is just another ask. The difference is you get way more no's to the business than you do to hosting. As a matter of fact, many times when we ask someone to book a party, they say yes on the first ask. I know I did. However, rarely do we offer the business opportunity to someone and they say yes on the first ask. How many of you didn't say yes to the business the first time someone asked you? Not me either. As a matter of fact, when I was asked about the business, I said no for 9 years before I said yes. When I ask someone about the business opportunity, I'm expecting to hear no on the first ask. Okay, not so. Because of that, not only is recruiting about asking a lot of people, it's also about asking the same people multiple times, multiple ways, because we just don't know when the timing is going to be right. We just don't know when something is going to change in their life. We just don't know when they're finally going to have the need. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm hearing feedback from someone and I can't figure out where it's coming from, so it's distracting me a little bit. Make sure you're muted for me. Now, listen, if you aren't the one to ask when they are indeed ready, someone else will. The only thing that separates the top recruiters in the company from everyone else is their number of asks. And I want to use that word ask very loosely because ultimately, recruiting is really more about a conversation where we're asking questions after that initial ask or invitation to learn more. And we're going to dive into that a little bit deeper in a minute. We don't need a recruiting offer to have high level recruiting. If you are waiting for the company to offer an incentive for you to ask people to join your team, you are missing out. You are leaving so many people out there who need this by not offering it to them and waiting for that for the offer. I know we have some great kits this month, but I want you to think back to a few months ago when we had a $39 kit. We had a lot of recruits come in that month. That $39 kit had a cast iron skillet in it, and it was valued at $139. That $39 kit is nowhere near as exciting and as good of as an offer as our $99 kit with a $50 kit credit for your host. That now makes it $49, and it has $400 in products. When you put that on scales, which is a better offer? It's that $99 kit. But one of the reasons that we see more people offering the business in a special like this month is because the consultant's belief in the offer spikes. So they're asking more people. And that's why you have to believe not in the special that's being offered, but believe in the opportunity that you have every single day. Believe in the opportunity of all of our kits and the value that they'll have for someone in their kitchen. When we believe that, when we believe that we always have an amazing opportunity, an amazing recruiting offer, we'll ask more people. When we believe that it's always a good time to start Pampered Chef, we'll ask more people. When we believe that circumstances change and people change their minds, they told you no before, but they could say yes today, we'll ask more people and we'll ask them more than once. When we believe that we can have a strong show schedule and be a top recruiter, we will ask more people because we won't live in the fear of giving away our bookings. When we believe that when someone joins our team, we benefit, and it's okay that we benefit because we have an opportunity to impact their life, both financially and emotionally, we'll ask more people. So let's talk about some of the big benefits that you do have when you recruit and when you help that new consultant start nice and strong. And this is for everyone. Okay, so as part of our career plan, here we go. You always earn a 50 Pampered Chef dollar bonus for every new consultant that you recruit and sells $12.50 or qualifies in their first 90 days. I copied this right from the policy guide. So every time you welcome someone to your team and help them reach their first $12.50 in sales, you get 50 Pampered Chef dollars. And those Pampered Chef dollars do not expire. You can use them for products, you can use them for supplies, you can use them for conference registration. Shameless plug right there, as we know that's coming up. You also earn 3,000 incentive trip points when they reach their first $12.50 in sales. Now, here's what's cool about that is it doesn't have to be in their first 90 days. As soon as they hit $12.50 in total career sales, so they're submitting at least $150 every other month without going inactive, you get 3,000 incentive trip points. And you get those points in the calendar year that they qualify. So if someone joins in December and qualifies in January, you get the points for that year's incentive trip. You also get, what is this called? Director promotion points when you help your new consultant promote to director. So when you're helping that new consultant get off to a strong start and they welcome 5 people to their team, you're going to get those director promotion points as well. You also, when you help a new consultant fast track to director, you guys, I know we have lots of fast track to directors in our organization. And when someone fast tracks to director, they get a $500 cash bonus. The recruiter gets a $500 cash bonus as well. When they meet their director requirements the next 3 months in a row, they get another $500, and you as their recruiter get another $500 as well. When they promote to advanced director, both you and that consultant that you recruited get a $1,000 cash bonus. I think this is probably one of our most underrated, under talked about promotions that each and every consultant has an opportunity to take advantage of. Every new consultant that you welcome to your team is an opportunity for both you and them to earn a $3,000 cash bonus. That is a lot of money on the table. And that doesn't even include all of your additional commission overrides that you get as building a team. So let's talk about those 5 I's again. In case you missed them earlier, they are inspire, inform, invite, inquire, and intentional follow-up. So the first step to inspire is, the first step to consistently welcoming new consultants to your team is to inspire yourself. You can't inspire others until you are first inspired. And the way that we do that is by setting goals. We all have booking goals. Most of us have a goal to do 4 parties or more a week. We consistently work to fill our calendars each week to reach our booking goal, making reach outs, partnering with our hosts, doing follow-up, etc. Do you have recruiting goals that you set for yourself each and every month? If you don't, that's a great way to take that first step to inspire yourself. So let me tell you about 3 goals that I have for myself, every single one. The first one is to have a goal for a number of asks or the number of invites that I'm going to do. So I know many of you have heard the goal to get 100 no's when you're working to fill your calendar for bookings. Are you also consistently getting 100 no's or more to the business opportunity every single month? Are you consistently hearing the word no to the business 100 times or more? If not, set that as your first goal, because just like with bookings, if you're getting 100 no's, you're going to be getting some yeses and some conversations going as well. So that leads me to my second goal that I have every month. And this is something that I actually track. I have a goal to have at least 20 conversations with people every single month about the business opportunity. We're going to dive into these conversations again in a few minutes, but are you tracking both your asks and your conversations? To get those 20 conversations, you're going to have to ask 100 or more people every single month. But remember, the more no's you get, the more conversations you're going to have, and the more yeses to the business you're going to get as well. And then my third goal is to have a number of signed consultants every month. My personal goal is to welcome 5 new team members to my team every month. And when I'm nearing the end of the month, if I haven't reached that goal, I'm circling back to all of those conversations to see if I can breathe some new life into them. I'm sending out a customer connection email to see if I can drum up any new conversations. Having a goal means you work to the last second each and every single month to reach that goal. And it also means that in a month, even when you fall short, do I welcome 5 new consultants every single month? No. But even in a month where I've fallen short, I'm still closer to my goal because I had a goal than if I hadn't had one at all. I know what I'm aiming for. So the second part of inspire is we also need to inspire others to want to work with us. You've heard this before. People will buy Pampered Chef in spite of you, but they will book parties and join your team because of you. People want to work with people that they know, people that they like, and people that they trust. So how can you tell people about yourself and build that know, like, and trust factor? You can do that by sharing your Pampered Chef story, sharing about your family, and giving sneak peeks into who you are as a person in your parties. Everybody has a Pampered Chef story. Why did you start? What were you looking for from the business? What has this business helped you to accomplish? What were some fears that you had and how did you overcome? And why are you glad that you're here today? What is it still doing it for you today? So there are some ways that you can do that in your parties. One of them is you can certainly go live. And I know a lot of people like to go live in their parties. I prefer to use some pre-recorded videos. So one of the things that I have in all my parties is a welcome post announcement with, all of the details about how to order and some prizes that I'm going to be giving away. And then I have a welcome video that I post in there. Instead of having a graphic, I have that video. And in that video, I share some tips about how to win prizes, and I'm planting seeds for both booking parties and joining my team. And this is part of building that know, like, and trust factor. The second thing I like to do, and we know we've talked about this before, it's important for that relationship to be 2 ways. You don't want to just talk about yourself the whole time and let them get to know you. You want to get to know them as well. And so one of the things I like to do in my parties is to share a picture of my family and ask them to share a picture of their family as well. And this is helping to build that connection. Share fun facts about yourself and ask them to share fun facts about themselves. And my fun facts are silly things about how much I love the beach, how my favorite candy is Pez and Tic Tacs. And it's not always about Pampered Chef, but I am weaving, let me go back. I am weaving parts of my story into all of my posts about the parts. Let me try that again. I am weaving parts of my story into all of the posts where I'm trying to build that know, like, and trust factor. So you can see right here that I shared that I joined in 2005 to pay off credit card debt, and I stayed all of these years because of the perks. And I'll be sharing more of those perks with them during the party. Okay, finally got that out. Here's another example of sharing some fun facts about myself, how I used to be the hamburger helper queen. And I'm so glad I found this job because I've learned so much about cooking. And then I'm asking them to share some of their mishaps about the business. So as you're building that know, like, and trust factor, make sure you're weaving in the different things of your different parts of your story and how it's benefited you. Oh, sugar. I just literally picked up the phone and hung up on them. All right. We've talked about this before as well. It's important to build that know, like, and trust factor with your guests that are ordering. And one of the ways that you can do that is by sending personal either text messages or personal messages on Facebook and not ask for anything. Build your relationship by providing good customer service. One of the things that I do is include an e-cookbook with every thank you message that I send. Let them know that they can add to their order if they forgot something. And then if they haven't qualified yet for free shipping, let them know about that. And then include that free e-cookbook. And then another tip, because hosts are our number one recruit lead, building that one-on-one close personal relationship with them is super important. And one of the ways that you can do that is by using voice clips. You can also jump on the phone with them. I know Dee was talking about that, and I know some other people are doing that as well. But consistently using voice clips to personalize your messages to them, let them hear your own voice, is a great way to build that relationship even stronger with your host. Don't just use the host chats. Don't just use copy paste. You already have a strong foundation with them because they booked with you. Now it's time to take it to the next level. Okay, so that's all the inspiration, inspiring people to want to work with you. Let's move to the next step. And we're going to talk about informing. That's the next step to consistently welcome people to your team. Informing is nothing more than sharing information. People don't always know that they can do what you're doing. They don't always know that they can earn money doing what you're doing. Some people think we just get paid in products. They don't always know that there are so many other benefits than money and products from doing what we're doing. So as I'm working to build that know, like, and trust factor, I'm also sharing ways that I've benefited and other perks of the business. That's all informing. Showing, this was from last month, but showing the fast track rewards, telling a little bit more about my story, talking about all of the different perks, showing them the perks, asking them which ones they would want to would be their favorite if they were to be a consultant, and letting them know that there's money that can be earned. Now, what's really important here is when you are talking about the money, you cannot guarantee any specific amounts of money. So as you can see, I'm not saying $500 a week. I'm not saying $500 a month. I'm just asking them what they would do with an extra $500. And I'm going to show you what that looks like behind the scenes in a few seconds. Another great way to inform is by giving the guests an opportunity to ask questions about the business. This really opens the door for you to inform, and they're the ones that opened it for you. So it's very important, again, not to lead guests to ask questions about income so that we are in compliance with the FTC guidelines. So a great way to do that is to include examples of questions that they can ask. So, are you on Facebook all day? Can I do this all online? Will I have to stock products? And rarely, and I mean extremely rarely, do I get someone ask about money on these posts. Most of the time, it's the same kinds of questions over and over and over again. So even when they ask different questions than the ones I've suggested, like I said, I get the same ones over and again over. So I actually have all of my responses typed up and ready to copy and paste right into the party. So what I'll do, in case you don't have access to this already, is I'm going to load a file into the training group, and it has all of the answers to the most frequently asked questions about the business. And these are the exact answers that I use in my parties. It's important to show up as a recruiter in every party. And I don't want to leave any opportunities on the table whatsoever. So some time ago, I started making my thank you post feel a little bit more personal, trying to build that know, like, and trust factor by including a picture of myself and on the post. And then one day it dawned on me that this is prime real estate, because with each and every thank you post, I'm tagging people to thank them for their order. So I decided to also incorporate information about the business in each and every thank you post. So these are just some screenshots of the thank you posts that I made. And actually I need to update them because marketing imagery just has some new images in there. So you can just go to Canva, put a picture of yourself, add a picture from marketing imagery, and then that's your new thank you post to use in your parties. When we inform about the business, this is a screenshot from before, we are throwing out seeds. That's all we're doing. That does not recruit people. Those seeds do not germinate on their own. They need soil. So the next step to recruiting, you've inspired them, you're building that know, like, and trust factor, you're informing. Now it's time to invite. That's where you're giving the seeds a place to grow. So you're going to invite them to learn more. So whenever a guest comments on any posts about the business in my parties, I'm reaching out to them and I'm asking them if they want to learn more. I thank them for their participation. And then this is where I have that goal to get 100 no's and to get 20 conversations going. And I'm tracking this in every single party. If I message them and they haven't responded, then I'm messaging them again before the party ends, or even a week later if I'm still not getting a response from them. My goal is to have 5 or more guests from each and every party that I do, that I have a conversation going. Now, there is a chance that your rock star guest, that guest in your party who's participating the most, might not comment on some of your recruiting posts. So make sure you're reaching out to them as well. If you have 5 asks per party that you're doing, and you're doing 4 parties a week, and you're also asking every single host, you're going to have at least 96 asks a month. This is a consistent action you can do to become a top recruiter. After you've thrown out your seeds about informing and you've planted them in soil by asking, the next step is to water them. So our third action is to inquire. So you can see right here, this person commented on the $500 and post. I'm curious. This is all same message to everyone. I'm curious. Have you ever thought about doing something like this all online to earn a little extra money? I have considered it. My sister tried selling Cutco. And then that's how the ask got started. All right. So here's the next step. This is the inquire. This is another part of that conversation. An inquisition is a prolonged period of questions. Remember that. Inquisition, when you're inquiring, it's a prolonged period of questions. The goal is to have a conversation with the person that you asked. And it's important to never have the last word yourself until you have that firm no. Never have the last word yourself. until you have a firm no. So how do you ensure that you don't have the last word? By asking questions. Continuing to inquire is how you keep the conversation going. As you message back and forth with someone about the business, be very clear and concise in the information you are sending. Keep it short and sweet. Do not word vomit on them. And always ask a question to keep the conversation going. Don't depend on them to ask you questions. The conversation will likely die out if your last thing that you write is a statement. Now, because people rarely, remember I said this, people rarely say yes the first time they're asked about the business, the conversation becomes a cycle of sharing information, overcoming an objection, and then asking another question. Share information, overcome the objection, and ask another question. When you're overcoming an objection, you can use the sandwich to structure how you say what you're going to say. It's first important to validate the objection. So for example, if someone says that they're too busy, you validate that. I get that. Feeling too busy is probably the most common objection I hear. Let them know it's normal to feel that way. Then overcome the objection. Because it's so flexible, you can work or as much or as little as you want. I like to also say most people think it takes more time than it actually does take. Because it's so flexible, you can work as much or as little as you want. And it's easy to fit into any schedule. That's where we're overcoming the objection. And then ask another question. If I could show you how this could work with your already busy schedule, would you be interested in trying it or learning more? So my goal here is to get either another objection, to get that no, or to get the yes. Hopefully that's what my ultimate goal is. So here's an example of a real conversation. I asked her about the business. Actually, she had booked a party. She said, let me think about that for a bit and I'll let you know. And I said, okay, if you have any questions, let me know. We have a cool offer this month when you join blah, blah, blah. You guys all know this. Here's my question. Again, it wasn't just let me know because it would have died right then and there. Is it something you've considered in the past? Here's her objection. Not really. Main reason, I really don't know how to cook and don't often cook. I'm going to validate her objection. OMG, girl, did you see my post about being the hamburger helper queen? I do very little of the cooking in my house, although I have learned a lot about it in the last 15 years. So I'm overcoming it. You can learn how to cook. Here's the bottom part of the sandwich. Is that the only thing holding you back? Remember I said that a conversation is a cycle of objection, overcoming the objection, and asking another question. Here's her next objection. That and time. I'm the assistant manager at McDonald's and I work a lot and take care of my granddaughter. Validate the objection. I understand most people worry about having enough time for this and more than anything else. I find they think it takes more time than it actually does. And then I'm letting her know about our posting service that we have. I literally check in on my parties once a day for about 15 minutes. So I've overcome it, and now I'm going to ask another question. If you were to try something like this, would it be for the extra money, free products, or something else? So now I'm going to show you an example, and you can write these down. You can take a screenshot of it. These are a lot of the questions that I use to keep that conversation going. And let me just back up. The first one, what interests you the most about joining? So that's what I'm asking her right here. if you were to try something like this, would be for the extra money, free products, or something else. Sometimes I'll just ask them what interests them the most, or I give them some ideas of things that might interest them. I'll ask, have you ever done anything like this before? Let me scroll back and show you. I had previously asked her this. Oh, I'm asking her this right here. She had mentioned that her mom and sister had done something like this. And I said, what about you? Have you ever done anything like this? Oops, there we go. Another great question. How much money would you like to earn? What would you want to do it all online or incorporate some in-person parties as well? These are just questions to keep the conversation going. Which of the kits do you like the most? What other questions do you have? Here we're winding down. We're getting closer to asking them to join. Is there anything holding you back from giving it a try? And then this is the most important question. And I know that this is often the one that scares everybody the most. They're afraid to ask this. Are you ready to get started? Are you ready to get started? Don't be afraid to ask for what you want. This is the sunshine on your planted and watered seed. You want it to sprout. You want them to sign up. Ask them if they're ready. And if they aren't ready, circle back to, what's holding you back? You can't overcome the objection unless you know what it is. And when you get your yes, sign them up. When you get a no, turn it into a booking. When you can book them on your calendar, you still have a hot recruit lead. And after they go through that hosting process, they are often more likely to sign up and join your team. So let's talk about recruiting our hosts. Every single party has at least one recruit lead, and that is your host. They are your hottest lead, even though they have probably already told you no to the business and probably told you no more than once. They are still your hottest recruit lead in your party. It's so important to offer the business to your host multiple times. When you bring it up each time after the initial no, one thing that I like to do is acknowledge the fact that they've already told me no, but I'm giving them permission to change their mind. So like in my voice clips, I might say something like, okay, Amy, I know you already said no about trying the business, but as we have this party, I know you're going to have a lot of fun. And if you change your mind, I want to make sure you know that you can actually get one of our starter kits at a discount. So I'm recognizing the fact that she already told me no, and I'm giving her permission to change her mind. So let's go through the few times that I offer the business to my host, and I'll show you some examples. As soon as they book the party, as soon as I secure a date, my very next question to them is to see if they would be interested in the business if they haven't already told me no. Because often the people who are commenting on the recruiting posts in the party, I'm getting my no's from them, but they aren't the ones maybe that I have booked necessarily. So here's an example. We secure the date. I'm excited to work with you. I'll send you a friend request soon so that we can stay in touch. I just hung up on somebody else. Also, this might be the farthest thing from your mind, but I wonder, because this is such a fun side gig, if I could show you how to do this all online in just a couple of hours a week, would you be interested in learning more? This is actually the beginning of that conversation that I showed you a few minutes ago. The gal that was working at McDonald's that was taking care of her grandkids, was concerned about time, didn't think that she could do it because of cooking. This is actually a text replacement on my phone. As soon as a party is booked, I type the letters PB and this text fires off to them. So the second time that I offer the business to someone is when I'm confirming their party, right before the party starts. Now, if you are booking a party today for someone that the party is going to start on Friday, or if it's starting next week, I get it. You might not feel comfortable asking them again so quickly. But if they're booked a month later, 2 months later, three weeks later, it's okay to ask again. So as soon as my party is confirmed, the next message goes to them asking them if they want to try the business, because I don't know what has happened in their life since we booked that party. So here's an example of it. She gave me a thumbs up. She confirmed the party. This is copy and paste every single week for me. Awesome. I want to help you get everything on your wish list, blah, 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 blah. Second ask. Look what she says. No, thank you. It's okay. If anything changes, or if you have any questions about it, please let me know. I'll message you tomorrow when it's all set up. You're going to see later, this host actually joins my team. She said no when she booked the party. She said no when I confirmed the party. But watch how it turns into a recruit. So the third time that I offer the business is when we start to really see some exciting things happening in the party. Maybe we have a ton of people join the party, like in the first 24 hours. Maybe we have orders coming in very, very quickly. I'm doing something where I just try to build that excitement and show them that the people that they will be reaching out to book their first parties and will be buying from them are going to support them. Oh my gosh, look how many of your friends have joined your party already. They love Pampered Chef and they love you. Are you sure you don't want to give this business a try? That's a very sweet way to say it. I'm going to show you what I actually said to the host. Because when you're building that know, like, and trust factor with your host, you kind of know how you can talk to different people. She had invited, I think we had like 100 people in her party within the first day. And I just said, you need to join my team. Like, that was it. It wasn't even an ask, but it was me affirming the response that she's getting to her party. And then just telling her, you can do this. It's going to be great. People are going to support you. I even said, you're going to want to join my team by the end. And this is actually what got that conversation going again. All right. The fourth ask is when that party reaches the $200 level. This is when you can mention that kit credit again. Make sure they're aware of it. Try to start the conversation again. So here's an example of a fourth ask. We had previously had a conversation. Her party had just reached the $200 level. So here we are chatting about it. And at this point is when I'm trying to close the party, apply that kit credit so that the rest of the orders can come through them. And that's really important for your past host. You want to make sure the party gets to at least $200 so that the past host gets their future party pick and it counts towards their $50 bonus for the 3 booked parties. And then the last time is when you, before you close the party, make sure you're offering that business to them one more time, especially when you have all of those confirmed bookings. This is often when people take the plunge because they know that they have some parties lined up to get started with. All right, so now I'm actually going to show you one more time that I offer the business to my host. I know it's become very popular to say to offer the business to your host 5 times, but there's a 6th time. And that's when their first party that's booked off of them happens, or the next party that happens. So here I was messaging her, letting her know that the party that was booked from hers getting ready to start. I don't want her to place her order because I don't want her to miss out on her future party pick. And she says, great, thanks. And then I message right back and say, just want you to know, if you decide to try the business, you could do this party. We have an awesome deal this month. She never responded to me on that. But at the end of the party, I got this message from her. I'm thinking about consulting, but I'm really bad at sales. And even when I did the party, it didn't work well. This consultant qualified in her first 30 days. Actually, she just reached the $2,500 mark. She said no when she was a guest in a party. She said no when she was the host of the party all 5 times. And it wasn't until that first party started to happen that was booked from hers, and I offered it again, that she joined. So the last thing is the intentional follow-up. That's your final I. It's important to track who you're asking so you can circle back during parties to continue the conversation. And then if for some reason the conversation dies out, you have that list of people to go back to and try to restart the conversation when you're working to meet your goals. When you don't get a firm no, and you also don't have a firm yes, get that permission to follow up. If they're booked on your calendar, ask them if you can circle back before the party starts. If there's a recruiting offer, ask if you can check back before the recruiting offer expires. So everybody right now this month, I'm saying, is it okay if I check back by the end of the month just in case you want to take advantage of one of these kits? I'm getting that permission to check back. If there isn't a recruiting offer, ask if you can check back if a special happens. We often have different incentives that we offer new consultants. Can I circle back when one pops up? They almost always say yes. If you're not sure when to follow up with them, ask them. How often would you like me to check back with you? When would you like me to circle back to see if the time is right? They might surprise you and say next week instead of saying next month or in a couple of months. Whenever you're having opportunity events is a great time to circle back with all of the people. This is my tracking sheet. You probably can't see it because of the light. To circle back with everyone to see if they'd like to attend your opportunity event. All of those conversations that didn't end in a yes. And as I wrap this up, I wanted to encourage you to remember again that recruiting is not about you. It's about serving others. It's an opportunity for you to make a difference in someone else's life. Our organization's name is Stacy's Superstars. And our name has a double meaning. Superstars is kind of obvious because you're all amazing. The second part might not be as obvious as to what it represents. It's not about the stars in the sky and how brightly each and every one of you shines. Instead, it's about the stars on the beach, the starfish or the sea stars. It comes from a story that I'm sure is familiar to many of you. An old man walking along the beach came upon a child sifting through debris left by the night's tide. Every so often, he would see a little boy picking up a starfish and toss it back into the sea. The old man asked the boy the purpose of his efforts. And the boy answered and said, "The tide has washed the starfish back on the beach. They will die unless I throw them back." The old man looked around at the miles and miles of the beach and all of the starfish all over it, and he said, "There are more starfish than you could possibly ever save. You cannot make a difference here." The child bent down to pick up another starfish and then sent it back into the ocean. And then he looked up at the old man and smiled and replied and said, "I can make a difference for this one." Be like the boy on the beach. Search your parties and find the starfish. Ask everyone and ask them again and again because it matters. You're going to make a difference in their life. One day, you might just ask a girl who grew up having her mom send her into McDonald's to grab napkins for free because her family couldn't afford to buy toilet paper. She got free meals in school, and her dad stood in food lines when the state was handing out bread and cheese. She got married at 19 and had her first baby at 21. She didn't finish college, and as a young married couple, they're struggling to make ends meet. Her credit card debt is piling up, and she can't get a job outside of the home like a normal part-time job because she has 4 small kids at home that she's homeschooling. She has low self-esteem. She doesn't know anything about cooking, and she's desperate to find a way to make some extra money. She's very shy, she's introverted, and most people think she would never be able to do something like this, including herself. But you ask her and you tell her that you believe in her and that she can do this. She might tell you no several times for several years, 9 years, as a matter of fact. But one day, the stress of the debt will become unbearable. And she'll reach out to you and she'll ask you if you really think that she can do this. And you'll say yes, and you'll help her get off to a strong start. She'll tell you she doesn't want to recruit, but you're going to encourage her and you're going to promise to help her and support her. She'll follow all your tips, and in less than 6 months, she'll pay off all of her credit card debt. And then she'll pay cash for braces for her kids. She'll be able to pay cash for cars. She'll earn free vacations. She'll get her first passport because she'll earn her very first trip outside of the country. She's going to learn a lot about cooking, and her confidence is going to grow. One day, she'll adopt a baby and pay cash for that entire adoption because of her Pampered Chef business that you helped her start. The business that you offered over and over and over again, even when she kept telling you no. She'll live a debt-free life. And one day she'll start a nonprofit, a charity that helps orphans and widows. Because see, when you make a difference in one person's life, it doesn't stop there. Pampered Chef doesn't stop with them. It has a ripple effect that keeps going and going and going. It's not about you. It's about them. Okay. So now I can stay on a few more minutes for any questions that you might have. I need to get a tissue now. Sorry about that. You'll have to unmute, or feel free to unmute if you want to ask a question. Try to look back through the chat.
It's not a question. I just want to say you're absolutely amazing and you inspire me every day. And I love hearing your trainings. Even if the one you give me goosebumps every time I hear your story, Stacey.
Thanks, Jess.
I'd like to say, who can even top that?
You can. You can.
No.